Now, the Caribbean Electric Utility Services Corporation, or CARELEC, is having their engineering and conference and exhibition, which is held annually with a different special track each year. Now, in 2023, it will be the Engineering and Procurement Conference and Exhibition. And so joining us to talk more about it are the Executive Director of CARELEC, Dr. Cletus Burton, who's joining us via Zoom, and Head of Human Resources and Administration at PowerGen, Mr. Jerome Singh. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning, Kimberly, and thank you.
Dr. Burton, you there with us still? Hello, Dr. Burton?
Yes, good morning and thank you for having us.
Of course, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to come to you first because CARELEC may not be known to a lot of our viewers, and so can you give us an overview of who CARELEC is?
Okay, CARELEC is the Regional Association of Electric Energy Solution Providers. It is headquartered in St. Lucia, established now 34 years. We presently have over 120 members, and that comprises 34 electric utilities across the English, French, Dutch, and some Spanish-speaking territories in the region and Latin America. We also have 70-plus affiliate and associate members. These would be companies that do business with the electric utility sector throughout the region, and these companies would be based regionally and internationally. We also have 8 independent power producers in membership, including 3 which operate in Trinidad and Tobago. We have a distinct category in membership for IPPs, or independent power producers, and we also have a new category for individual members, which includes students, academics, researchers, small practitioners, solar PV installers, honorary members, etc. So quite a diverse membership, and in existence for over 34 years, serving the interests of the electric utility sector, and more broadly, over the last 5 years, other alternative energy solution providers in the region.
Of course, that is a nice synopsis, nice overview. I think we understand now. But I also understand as well as that every year you have the conference, but it's going to be a different theme every year. So let's talk about this year's theme and the purpose of it.
Yes, thank you so much. As a matter of fact, every year we have 4 major conferences. The engineering conference is the largest of the 4 conferences that we have. And this year we are quite pleased to be again in Trinidad for this conference. We are focusing on engineering topics and procurement under the theme of power in transition in the Caribbean energy sector, looking at everything from designs to procurement and execution, because we believe the full life cycle of these processes are important for effective and efficient operations, and also to power, and the pun on the play on the word power, powering the transition in the energy sector. By transition, we mean the shift from fossil fuel-based generation to, over time, renewable energy sources of generation in a planned and systematic way that is sustainable and ensures reliability and profitability and affordability for all players in the sector.
Nice. I'm going to come to Mr. Singh now because, as I understand it, PowerGen is an independent power producer. What sort of, or rather, why was the decision taken to join CARELEC at this conference?
Good. As Dr. Burton mentioned, it's usually rotated in Trinidad and Tobago every 5 years, right. And we partnered with the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, TNTEC, and we were invited, and we were happy to take part in this because the theme really aligns with what we are trying to do as an independent power producer at the power generation company of Trinidad and Tobago. So it's really alive and well in what we are trying to do, and aligns very well with the vision for PowerGen as well.
One of the things that Dr. Burton mentioned was that sort of transition to the Caribbean energy sector. How is PowerGen going to maintain that mandate in terms of that, particularly transitioning and even using technology in that transition process?
Correct. So as the theme says, smart design, so that's what we are paying attention to. How do we make our machines more reliable, more efficient? We're hearing about cybersecurity, so we want to ensure that we have robust cybersecurity measures in that design. When we look at efficient procurement, our Procurement Act was recently proclaimed, so there's alignment to procurement and the efficiency in procurement as well, and of course execution. As in you say in HR, you need to have the right people in the right place at the right time. So from plans to execution, that's also important for us, and it's that whole chain getting to a more resilient, sustainable energy component in Trinidad and Tobago and Caribbean and beyond.
Dr. Burton, I'm coming back to you. Let's jump straight into the conference. Tell us about the conference and let's talk about some of the topics we can see discussed this year.
Right. So the conference opens on Sunday evening, the 23rd, with our opening ceremony with a distinguished keynote speaker, and it continues in plenary session from Monday through to Wednesday. Like I said, the topics will be engineering focused, everything from smart designs, looking at design methodologies, system planning, system modeling for energy transitioning. And also we're taking a special spotlight on procurement. On the Wednesday of the conference, we'll be taking a look at procurement, both energy procurement and general procurement. As we know, it's a very critical area in Trinidad at the moment with the new procurement legislation that my colleague referred to. And on the Thursday, the 27th, we have a post-conference workshop where we'll be taking a deep dive into procurement issues and offering that as a standalone event or as part of the package with the conference.
Yeah.
So focusing on technical topics related to engineering and also procurement.
Dr. Burton, can we drill down a bit on that sort of procurement? Because for us, in terms of proclaiming the procurement legislation, what that meant was accountability and transparency as it relates to services. And so do we see that playing out in the energy sector as well, or does procurement in the energy sector mean something different?
Oh, it means that, absolutely. Accountability, transparency, value for money are some of the key facets of procurement in the energy sector, especially transparency as it relates to procurement of energy supplies. So many of the same principles and the dynamics and the processes might differ slightly, but basically the same underlying principles would be consistent in its delivery and application in the electric energy sector.
Yeah. And Dr. Burton, as it relates to the expectations, and this is a two-part question, tell us some of the expectations you anticipate coming out of the conference, and also who does this conference target?
Okay, so the expectations are really, we're looking at basically a win-win-win, meaning for our membership, they get the opportunity to engage, interact, share knowledge and information. Many of the topics will be delivered by practitioners in the sector and beyond the shores of the region. So we get that opportunity for rich dialogue and exchange of ideas and solutions. We always like our conferences to be solution oriented. So it's not, as we say, another talk shop. We get actual implementable solutions to real world problems from these conferences. We have a rigorous process by which we vet papers. We issue a call for papers, and we have a vetting committee that goes through the submissions and selects the best among the abstracts that we would have received, and then we formulate an agenda based on that. So it's a pretty systematic exercise in putting the agenda together. And so an outcome will be rich knowledge sharing and also developing business development opportunities. There's also a very extensive exhibition that is running parallel to the conference at the Hyatt Regency. Right. We are expecting over 60 exhibitors, and this invitation is still open to firms in Trinidad and Tobago who are or interested in doing business in the electric energy sector in Trinidad or anywhere in the region for that matter, because of the wide reach of our audience being in over 20 plus countries. And so the exhibition component, the outcome there is to give firms a chance for business development, marketing, promotion, networking, making contacts, or for doing business throughout the region. So these will be some of the main outcomes that we expect from the conference.
And target audience, are we thinking more IPPs in terms of independent power producers?
Yes, and persons who do business in the sector, technical persons, engineers in particular. I should mention that we are also partnering with APET, the Association of Professional Engineers of Trinidad and Tobago, is officially a partner with us in this regard, in particular the electrical engineering aspect of that association. And we've also been in discussion with the Association of Energy Engineers of Trinidad and Tobago for partnership and collaboration in this event, in addition to our main co-hosts of TNTech and PowerGen. So a very collaborative effort and appealing to a wide pool of engineers, technical persons, and also business-minded persons in the sector who may see an opportunity for providing services to the sector whether it's consultancy services, training services, doesn't necessarily have to be energy related. It could be auxiliary services, legal services, cleaning services, whatever the business opportunity might be in the sector. This conference would be an ideal platform for engagement and business development.
Nice. Mr. Singh, I'm coming back to you because what I'm hearing Dr. Burton saying, there's going to be that sort of networking and knowledge sharing that's going to be taking place when the conference starts and, throughout the conference. What sort of gaps you think the conference can address as it relates to power gen? Is there anything in particular you want to learn, any sort of knowledge you want to glean during the conference?
So for us, as Dr. Burton mentioned, it's really technical. It's about in terms of knowledge, sharing, and so on. So for us, some of the interesting areas, when you look at some of the topics you have beyond net metering, a virtual power station, how to operate it virtually. You have sustainable energy sources. Where you look at things like where you have electricity vehicles that are now, topical today. Where do you have battery and storage solutions? So those are some of the things that we are looking at. Renewables would be another area for us that where we are looking to strengthen, our capabilities in that particular and how we, support the grid. So those are some important knowledge areas for us and for our engineers, just to understand, where energy is going. And in particular, it provides a platform for knowledge sharing. Because if you don't have that, given the environment in which and how things move so quickly, knowledge sharing will be important for us and networking. And as Dr. Burton mentioned, even the exhibitors, sometimes you go to these conferences and you're not aware that it exists, but you find an exhibitor who has something just what you're looking for at that particular point in time, and you have an aha moment. So that I think is really important, that bit of, just being aware of what's happening in the industry. Even if you have an academic interest, it is still something that to me is exciting, yes.
And Dr. Burton, before we go, I'm going to give you 1 minute to just remind us when the conference is taking place, where it's taking place, and any final thoughts.
Well, the conference is from July 23rd, Sunday evening, the opening ceremony at the Hyatt Regency. The main conference runs from Monday through to Wednesday, with a focus on procurement on the Wednesday and a deep dive in terms of a workshop-style session on Thursday, the 27th, at the same venue, the Hyatt Regency, starting off about 8:30 a.m. right through to 4:30 p.m. And we have specially discounted rates, I should mention, for Trinidad and Tobago residents, which is about a 50% discounted rate for residents in Trinidad and Tobago. And also we have some remaining booths opportunities for exhibitors to come and get that exposure, as Mr. Singh mentioned, and have these aha moments that will lead to some breakthroughs.
And Dr. Burton, if we need to get any more information, any website address, email, phone numbers?
Yes, www.carelec.org, carelec.org. You could hit that website and you'll get all the information on registration and participation in the conference, and email cburton@carelec.org.
Nice. Well, Dr. Burton, Mr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and all the best with the conference that's coming up next week. Have a good one.
Thank you so much again.
And that was the Executive Director of Carelec, Dr. Cletus Burton, and Head Human Resources and Administration at PowerGen, Mr. Jerome Singh, just sharing about an upcoming conference and exhibition that's taking place at the Hyatt Regency. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.